If we talk about Palo Alto certification, so in Palo Alto we have different types of certification. The first certification we have PCCSA, then PCNSA and PCNSE. Okay, so these are the steps to go ahead with the Palo Alto training. Okay, so hopefully you are already aware about the firewall. If not, then we are going to cover here firewall basic. Okay, and then we'll start with Palo Alto. What is Palo Alto? Why we should use Palo Alto? What are the benefits of the Palo Alto firewall? Then other firewall. That's we are going to discuss. Okay, so moving ahead regarding a Palo Alto, why we should use a Palo Alto firewall in our network. And if you see in the most of the network, Palo Alto is being used nowadays. Why Palo Alto is being used nowadays? Because it's a market leader. It's market leader just because of its feature. A lot of feature it has. Okay, and it's the next generation firewall. So if I talk about the firewall, next generation firewall, so any next generation firewall would be providing, a firewall capability, URL filtering capabilities, IDS, IPS, inside that antivirus capabilities, and it would be able to inspect the traffic from layer 2 to layer 7. So all those features is provided by the next generation firewall. Okay, if I talk about firewall management, so in Palo Alto, you can do the firewall management individually. So if you have single unit of firewall, you can manage it via GUI or CLI console. And if you have multiple firewall in different data center or different location, that you can manage from single location only. Okay, so for that, we have the central management device, which is Panorama. Okay, so you can manage the Palo Alto firewall either as a single unit, or you can integrate the firewall into the Panorama and then you can manage. In Palo Alto firewall, Palo Alto firewall is really very fast in terms of the packet processing, just because of it has the single pass parallel processing architecture. So we are going to discuss next what is single pass parallel processing, but this is one of the great feature that Palo Alto have, and just because of this particular feature, Palo Alto firewall is really very fast. Palo Alto uses dedicated CPU for management and data plane. So hopefully you are aware about the management and data plane. If not, then management plane is used to access the firewall and to configure the policy. And actually processing done by the data plane. Packet filtering or packet inspection would be done by the data plane. So Palo Alto use, separate CPU and memory for management and separate CPU and memory for data plane. So in terms of if the data plane is overutilized, and if you just want to access your firewall, you would be able to access. Okay, because management plane would be free. Same way, if there is a problem on the management plane, okay, your data plane would not be affected just because of this segregation. And the Palo Alto firewall you can use on premises. Okay, that means in on premises data center, and you can use on the public data center as well. I mean, sorry, cloud-based data center. Okay, so if you have cloud-based DC on the Azure or AWS or Google, so you can use Palo Alto firewall there as well. Palo Alto firewall also supports central log collection. That means it can send the entire log to the centralized device. So if you just want to integrate with any of SIEM tool, so you can integrate Palo Alto firewall to the SIEM tool, such as Splunk. Okay, or you can send the entire logs to Panorama itself. So it does support, log collection feature. Let's move further. So Palo Alto firewall is a leader nowadays. Okay, since 2019, this firewall is a leader in the market. Now, moving to traditional firewall. If you are using traditional firewall, so traditional firewall means apart from Palo Alto, if you use any other firewall, they follow traditional multi-pass architecture. In multi-pass architecture, what happens? Let's say if there is any packet came to the firewall, let's say the packet came to the firewall. In firewall, you know that we have different segments for packet processing. For example, packet gets processed by firewall policy, packet get processed by URL policy, packet get processed by IPS, then antivirus, and then packet would reach to the destination. So let's say there is a source who is trying to send the data to the destination in multipass architecture. What happened when the firewall would receive the packet? It would do the layer 2 and layer 3 resolution, okay, all the HA configuration management reporting, etc. Okay, and then it would send the packet for port filtering, and through firewall policy packet gets port gate filter. So let's say you have allowed some port number 80. So if you have allowed, firewall going to allow it. Okay. After that, packet would go to next stage. Here itself, again as a multipass, this module would also do layer 2 or layer 3 resolution, and then it would send to URL filtering for HTTP decoder and to know the if the URL is allowed. So let's say URL is allowed. Again, it would reach to another module which is IPS. IPS module would again do same thing, layer 2, layer 3 processing over here. And if packet is good, okay, IPS is going to allow it. Okay, same way it would go for antivirus, and again in antivirus segment, again layer 2, layer 3 processing would happen. So you can see here there is a single packet, okay, which is passing multiple time for layer 2 or layer 3 processing. So this is kind of architecture is known as a multi-pass architecture. So multi-pass architecture is time consuming because same thing is happening at 4 stages. If you are using more module apart from let's say you have enabled one more module which is let's say sandboxing. So if you have enabled sandboxing itself, again packet would go with the multi-pass process. So this is time consuming, right? So Palo Alto came with the solution. They are using single pass architecture. This is Palo Alto architecture. What is happening? Whenever any packet hits to the firewall, let's say this is source and this is the destination, and source is trying to send the data to the destination. So on that cases, the packet would go here on the Palo Alto firewall. And in the Palo Alto firewall, using a single pass mechanism, your app ID, user ID, content ID, and networking function, all these things would be performed at once. Okay, it would perform at once. Everything would go simultaneously, right? So to support this is single pass. This thing is known as single pass. So with the single pass, it doesn't go from the multi-pass, it go the single pass, and parallel processing is happening. App ID would do process parallelly, user ID would do process parallelly, content ID would do process parallelly, not serially. All these would apply parallelly. And to support this parallel processing, we have dedicated hardware in Palo Alto. For example, to support networking function, we have networking related hardware. We have security related hardware to perform security function. And for content filtering, we have content filtering related function. So for example, if it want to, decrypt SSL traffic, so yes, for that we have dedicated hardware. So in Palo Alto firewall, we support SP3 model, single pass parallel processing. And just because of this model, Palo Alto is passing packet in a single instance, and to process those packets, we have parallel processing hardware. So as you can see, data plane and control plane. However, these things can be controlled by this. Data plane can be controlled by the management console. So that's what it is, Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto firewall is really fast just because of this technology. Okay, so if there is any question, please let me know regarding this. However, we are going to understand this thing in detail later. We are going to understand. I would show you packet capture, and using packet capture, I'm going to show you that when at what stage app ID is going to check user ID going to check, our content ID is going to check. All those things we will see in the packet capture later.